All right, we're going to introduce ourselves again. My name is Tom Salt, functional medicine doctor and well, I said that, didn't I? Functional medicine doctor. And?
Elizabeth, a registered nurse and life coach.
Get kind of rattled from being, I was trying to improve the...
That way we're not blown out.
Yeah, I'm going to clean the windshield here a little bit. Okay, maybe that'll help. Maybe not. There. All right. So we're a little dark, but the background's prettier, and that's probably more important. We were talking about autoimmune disease before we were so rudely interrupted. You were telling us about your thoughts about inflammation and how to manage inflammation and that kind of thing.
And I was just starting to go into a big way that we can reduce inflammation in our body is by watching the foods that we put into our mouth. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Oh, there's kids playing outside, but it's nice background noise.
Yeah.
So a great diet that is low of those foods that can trigger inflammation is our Renew diet. And our Renew diet is something that we put you on for, not for life. This is a diet for about 4 to 6 weeks, and it's just a nice diet to reset your system. So it gets rid of all those foods that trigger inflammation, foods that are lower in glycemic index, so it helps you control your blood sugars. And then it helps introduce foods into our diet too that optimize our detoxification process. So a lot of great things with this diet. And what this diet is it's no grains, no dairy, and it's those lean, healthy meats along with ample amounts of fruits and vegetables. Now they say, get your 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and they figure that out from the 2 to 3 of the fruits and 3 to 5 of the vegetables, and that's just a smaller number. So realistically, a healthy person needs closer to 8 servings of fruits and vegetables, and if you're suffering from a chronic illness, chronic inflammation, autoimmune disorder, you probably need closer to 10.
Absolutely. It was completely silent out here when we started, but now there's a dog having fun and kids chasing him around. So I want to go into a little more depth about, I'll try to keep it in English, but the biochemistry and the neurophysiology and the physiology of this autoimmune process. And at the center of this whole thing is really inflammation. And what kinds of things feed into inflammation? Well, there are predisposing factors, so you may have a genetic makeup that predisposes you to inflammation. You may have an imbalance in your gut microbiome that can increase your inflammation. Hello, Misty, again. Thank you for coming back. This dysbiosis is an interesting thing. There's another piece to this that's really important. Your thoughts can cause inflammation. Down, blue, sad, mad emotions create molecules that are inflammatory. They do another thing. They cause you to be in fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, you're shunting blood away from your gut. 70% of your immune system lines your gut. So you're downregulating your immune system. You're taking blood away from your gut, so you're not digesting and absorbing well. And the fact that you're leaving food behind because you're not absorbing well, it alters your microbiome, further increasing inflammation. So we've got our emotional state interrupting the gut. We've got our gut interrupting our emotional state, because that's a two-way street. And then we've got the gut causing inflammation, and we've got the emotional piece causing inflammation. So we've got this triangle. Things that cause leaky gut cause leaky brain. And so now you've got, leaky gut from the dysbiosis and imbalances in your gut and inflammation. And now you're getting an inflamed brain. Well, everything is controlled by your brain. Particularly, there's a place in your brain called the hypothalamus, which is sort of like the switchboard of your brain. And that causes dogs to bark. Hi, Fran. And that causes yet another layer of inflammation. But there's another piece to this puzzle. Inflammation lowers something called innate immunity. And innate immunity is the first line of defense, okay? So decreased innate immunity, and those stress chemicals also decrease a part of your immune system called the Th1, or thymus helper cell, or T helper cell 1. That also increases your propensity for infection. Infection increases inflammation. Now, low Th1 causes an increase in Th2. Increased Th2 predisposes you to, Mandy, hi, predisposes you to asthma and allergies and sinus problems and UTIs and URIs, urinary tract infections and upper respiratory tract infections. But they also stimulate something called Th17. Th17 is one of the primary pathways that leads to autoimmune disease. And then, of course, autoimmune disease causes inflammation. So you can see we have several dogs chasing their tail. We have the inflammation, dysbiosis, mood piece. We have the mood, brain inflammation piece. So there's another circle. Then we have the the lowered innate immunity, elevated Th1, which causes a lowered Th2, which results in elevated Th17, which causes autoimmunity, which causes inflammation, and goes around in that circle a whole bunch of times. So you can see that once autoimmunity is present, there are multiple feedback loops that perpetuate it. And we have to interrupt all of those. And of course, one of the biggest ways to interrupt all of those is at the gut. And so everything that Elizabeth just said is critical to helping people get around the corner. But there's more. But wait, there's more. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Brenda.
So we've got, all of these circles that all intersect with inflammation, right? We've got one going this way that's related to dysbiosis and inflammation. We've got one going this way that's got to do with mood and immunity and inflammation. We've got one over here that has to do with inflammation and immune regulation and autoimmunity, and it's just kind of a convoluted mess.
Hi, Beatrice.
Hi. So, what on earth? Well, we start with the basics. So nobody.
Right. Where do you start in all that? Because if it's a continuous loop that only worsens as it goes, it can leave you feeling a little bit hopeless. Of course, where do I even begin?
Exactly. It feels hopeless, but actually, there's a common theme here, right? It's inflammation. So how do we manage inflammation? Well, there's a giant opportunity to manage inflammation at the level of the gut mucosa. And so we start with our modifiable lifestyle factors. The very first modifiable lifestyle factor we typically talk about is sleep and relaxation. Well, sleep, we know, restores everything, but in particular your immune system repairs. And then, of course, relaxation is part of anti-stress. There are 10 kids on a lily pad pushing each other around right behind us right now. So what do? Well, you go on the Renew diet that you talked about.
Yep, the Renew diet. And, along with the dietary changes, we really need to be just as importantly concentrating on how we eat our food. Because if you're eating your food in a stressed or anxious state or on the go, you're not taking that time to really sit down and rest and take some, cleansing breaths before you start and really make it a peaceful event instead of a lot of times, we try to cram in our eating. And that's really key for the gut, because when you're eating in that stressed state, you're already shunting blood away from your gut, and you're not going to properly absorb and digest any of the foods, any of the nutrients that are really going to help you get out of this state.
Yeah, so hugely important, not just what you eat, but how you eat it.
It's
I like
just as important.
Yeah, maybe more important. And I like to say it's not that important what you eat. It's really important what you are about to eat.
What they ate too.
Yeah. So, especially if you're really challenged and you have an autoimmune disease, that's the time when you really got to go full organic, right? You can't be letting toxins and pesticides sneak in. So, we're going to go across the bottom. We've talked about the sleep and so on. We've talked about nutrition. There's also exercise and movement. Many people with autoimmune disease, they hurt. They can't move very much.
Yeah.
But doing passive range of motion or minimal activity is very helpful
Stretches,
for normalizing.
yoga.
Whatever you can do, and so, there's an old saying, where there's a will, there's a way. Well, the other opposite is true. Where there's no will, there's no way. So you got to find the will to find a way. And that doesn't mean grit it out and go run a marathon. It means be gentle, be kind, and find something that you can do. If it's water, so you're in a weightless environment. If it's water related, if it's floor exercises where gravity is minimal, whatever it is, find a way. There are ways. And then moving one more, we talked about nutrition. Then there's what the heck comes out? Stress management. Hugely important because of what we talked about. The molecules of emotion, the up, love, gratitude kinds of emotions are, believe it or not, anti-inflammatory. The down, sad, mad kinds of emotions are inflammatory. So, how do you manage having an autoimmune disease, feeling like your life is being stolen from you, and not have resentment and anger, right? That takes some mindfulness. It takes some Zen practice of some kind, whatever that means to you, if it's prayer or meditation. And there's a million, we think of meditation, it means somebody in full lotus with their fingers like this, and sitting on a mountaintop. That's one tiny sliver of the pie of what meditation means. Meditation can mean, simply focusing on any one of your senses, whether it's a smell that you're experiencing or a taste. Breathing
can become a meditation.
Yeah. Even balance. We did a meditation the other day, just walking, but standing on one foot for a count of 1 second, and then taking the next step and standing on one foot for 1 second. And it takes enough concentration to maintain your balance that it focuses you, right? It focuses you. And that's really what meditation is trying to do, is to help you get rid of all the clutter, or at least be aware of the clutter in your mind. Breathing is another beautiful way to do it. And I love the way you talk about, we'll just go through sort of your inhale, exhale, hold kind of thing.
Very simple. Just sit in a relaxed state. You can be sitting anywhere. You can be sitting at your office desk in your chair while you do this. But just really, it's about becoming aware of your breath. And I take a breath in for about 5 seconds. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I hold it for a moment, and then I exhale. And when I exhale, I think backwards. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that just brings a deeper awareness into it, because, not only are you concentrating on your breath, but you're bringing your awareness into counting down from 5. And then at the end, hold it really, exhale all the air out. And, when you feel that, then you just hold that for 5 seconds.
I said this the other day, but, competitive shooters, whether they're archers or handgunners or even military snipers, they're all trained. When you're about to aim, you take a deep breath, you let it out, and then you fire. Because having a deep breath and hold it in, that's actually sympathetic. It makes everything jumpy. If you...
It makes your heart go up.
Yep. If you relax, then everything's steady. So the point of being exhaled and holding it, not until you're blue, just, for a moment, is parasympathetic, and it's relaxing. So the other thing I'd love it if you would go over again your sensory immersion kit.
So I actually keep this in my purse. It's a small bag that I have in my purse, and each item in there is something to bring me to a place of peace and calming for each of my senses. So there's something in there that I can see. I actually have a mirror in there, like a little handheld mirror, so I can just look at myself in the mirror and bring myself back into myself. I have...
Don't be like Narcissus and drown, though. Sorry.
It's okay. And then there is smell. I have essential oil that I love that just has a calming effect on me. So I have that in there. And so, yeah, along just something for each sense. I have rocks for feeling. The rocks actually have phrases on them, and they're special rocks that I got at a retreat, so it brings in other senses as well. But it's just something that brings you to a place, a person, a smell that brings you peace.
Yep, so 5 different items for each of your senses, just to be able to bring yourself completely sensory aware right to this place, and all of them attached to some better, happier moment, right? So that's sort of stress management. And then relationships. And relationships are so beautiful and powerful and wonderful, and at the same time can be so destructive. The tiniest little unknown comment. And I want to tell a story about when my children were quite young. My youngest came out of his bedroom. I was walking down the hallway, and I picked him up and kind of threw him in the air a little bit and grabbed him and said, "There's my favorite little guy." And I came around the corner, and I saw my next older son with just this look on his face, just this look like, oh my God, that's the favorite. And that's not the way I meant it at all. And so fortunately, I had the presence of mind to say, and there's my favorite big guy. But imagine if I hadn't turned around that corner. Imagine if I hadn't turned the corner, hadn't seen him, and he, for who knows what period of time, grew up believing that Dad had a favorite. It's just that those things are powerful and destructive. So, relationships. And how do you cultivate beautiful relationships? Well, you read the book, The 4 Agreements, for starters. That's a good place to start. The 4 Agreements: be impeccable with your word, which means sometimes you're going to disagree, and it's okay to disagree. You don't have to, don't take anything personally, and so on. There's other agreements, but
there's 4.
There's 4 of them. But we're not going to go into all of them.
No.
It's a great book, Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements. So then we get into the matrix now, right? So we talked about diet and assimilation, and how assimilation or digestion and absorption is affected by the autonomic nervous system and all that stuff. But we touched just briefly on detox. Because I talked about needing an organic diet if you've got an autoimmune disease because of toxins. But why don't you let us know something about the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen?
So you can go on ewg.org, and on there is a list of, and you can probably just Google Dirty Dozen, Clean 15.
Probably.
And there's a list of the, top 12 fruits and vegetables that have the highest pesticide residue. And then there's 15 actually that have 0 to none. So if you just pick out those 12 fruits and vegetables that are in the Dirty Dozen, and you switch those out for organic, you eliminate like 90% of all of the pesticides in your diet.
So don't, if like who isn't on a limited budget, especially these days, right? So don't waste your organic food budget on the Clean 15.
They have little to no residue.
Right.
So, if the price is close, or you're able to, I always think that the way things are farmed has a lot to do about a lot to do with the nutrition of food too. So I think that the nutritional value
and saving the planet.
Yeah, probably better in the organic. But if you're on a budget, or you're just starting out and it's overwhelming because it is quite a bit more expensive, just start with those Dirty Dozen.
Plug for a beautiful documentary on Netflix called The Biggest Little Farm.
Oh, it's so great.
And it really gives you a sense of that, developing the ecology. And, you know, it really fits into autoimmune disease because we are a part of a very complex ecology. And all of these circles I was telling you about, the inflammation circles and the autoimmune circle and the brain chemistry circle, that's part of our own internal ecology as well. And balancing this ecology, if you watch the movie, you'll see some really beautiful and amazing things. They go from this dry, clay, ugly, nothing dirt to this beautiful, rich soil. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing.
So, you know, then anyway, we get to, you know, defense and repair. Well, everybody thinks, oh, well, you know, my immune system's overreactive. It's attacking me. No, your immune system is dysregulated. You know, people with autoimmune disease will tell you, I never get the cold. I never get a cold. Or if I do, it's usually I get it less often than other people around me. You know, there's something out of balance about your immune system, but it's not overactive. You don't want to suppress it, although that's what the drugs do, right? They suppress your immune system. So we want to regulate it. And there are tests we do to figure out how to regulate it. And then energy production. Most people with autoimmune disease, because of toxins, because of all the other things that have gone haywire, they're not making ATP, which is the molecule of energy in your body. They're not making ATP efficiently. And there are specific nutrients that we can use depending on how it's dysregulated to rev up your mitochondria and, as we say, resuscitate your mitochondria. And then talked about detox. Detox is the next area in the matrix. And then communication. Well, this is huge. It's really more about communication than anything else. Not just, you know, we think about hormones and everybody goes, oh, well, testosterone, progesterone, estrogen. No, well, those are some hormones, but there's thyroid hormones, there's pituitary hormones, there's adrenal hormones. And then there's other messenger molecules, and all of these molecules of emotion going up or on up here, and they need to be balanced. And so often, if you have chronic, say chronic low-level depression, and maybe you're on an antidepressant, well, antidepressants hold these molecules of emotion in the right place in this thing called a synapse. But your brain gets total brain depleted of these things. So giving your body nutrients that help, we're essentially brain fertilizer, that help your brain make these molecules really makes a gigantic difference. So we go all the way around this thing, and then there's another layer. There's mental processes. What are your thoughts and beliefs? You know, are you screwed because you have an autoimmune disease? Is there no hope? You know, are you simply a victim of this disease and there's nothing you can do? If that's your belief, you're gonna have trouble.
What story are you, you know, telling yourself and telling the world around you? You know, because we become our story. So, and I know some of this stuff, it
sucks.
It does. And we want to voice that too. We want to voice the things that we are not. Oops. Reading something that came on the screen. I lost my train of thought. But yes.
Well, you were talking about telling stories.
Yes, we want to voice our emotions. But yes, you have to watch that story that you're telling yourself about yourself. You know, are you just a survivor? Oh, puppy's mad. Or are you telling yourself one of, you know, working towards thriving? Yeah.
Yeah, so reauthoring your story. That's really what we're talking about. Become the copy editor of your story and reauthor it so that it is a story of triumph, not of victimhood. Constructive. And then, so that's the mental piece. Emotional piece is kind of wrapped up in the same bit. And then the spiritual piece, you know, where are you? How do you fit into this larger context of purpose and place and life and death, and you know, what are your connections? And you know, because really ecology is about connections, and we talked about this is an ecological disease. It is a mismatch between your internal ecology and your external ecology. That is what's causing autoimmune disease. And you know, sometimes you do the whole hero's journey and it doesn't go away, but hopefully it gets better. I have many patients who, maybe we get them off of the really nasty drugs they're on, but they have to be on a couple other drugs and they have to be on a slew of supplements, but they feel better than when they were on the really nasty drugs. So, it's not just being cured. Sometimes it is, and those are great. I love to tell those stories. It just unfortunately isn't always the case. Often it's, little baby steps over time. And so anyway, we talk about these, all of these domains of health, and it's not a domain, it's an interactive web. It's a cloud that's continuously moving.
And as you start to balance one area, other areas will also naturally start to balance. So, as you start to repair your gut, you're going to automatically think better. You're going to have better emotions because of how your body is, the inflammation in the gut is, inflammation in the brain.
Yep. Oh boy.
You got rid of all the comments.
I did.
There we go.
And I thought I was going to turn it upside down again. Yeah. Hi, Denise.
Hi, Denise.
Yeah. Okay, so we've gone kind of around the matrix and talked about this. And it really, it sounds complicated, but from your perspective, it's having a deep conversation about the topics. We go and we really talk about each thing and your timeline. We try to figure out the timeline. We try to pull out these things we call antecedents, which are sort of your predisposing factors. We try to pull out the triggering events and then try to figure out what the molecules that perpetuate your illness, and then just start balancing them out. And the problem is it's simple, but it's not easy. And by that I mean we're going to ask you to do something. It's simple, but except changing your diet isn't easy. It's
right. It a lot of the things that we do are habitual, and it's hard to change those things because as you start to move outside your comfort zone, your habits, your body automatically, your brain finds ways to push you back into that area because that's what's comfortable, that's what's safe, that's what's known.
Right. So that's the beginning of autoimmune disease, and we'll talk more about autoimmune disease on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, I was going to add too, the matrix. When you fill out the living matrix, and it has all those areas, it actually shows where you're more off balance than in other areas, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it kind of points you in the direction of, okay, which area is most out of balance, and we start with that area.
I just got a piece of cottonwood up my nose. That was fun. So that's right, and that's the whole purpose of the matrix is to figure out.
That's the whole purpose of that
nasty
those
paperwork
forms
we get people to do.
have to fill out before, but it gives us critical information.
Yeah.
And it really gives you a picture of what's going on before you even see him.
Yep.
So it's
All right, so this was sort of the broad overview. We're going to dive in a little deeper. And so let me know, are you interested in going crazy into the physiology and biochemistry, or are you interested in staying at the level of diet and meditation and how-tos? Things that
do, action steps.
Action steps or theory. Let us know. We could do one day on each. My bias is we should do action steps because that's what you guys are trying to do, not, you're not trying to, this isn't a class for physicians, this is a class for you guys. So, but if you have a strong opinion, let me know and I will be happy to dive in. That's
or if there's one specific area you want to know more about in greater detail, maybe you're more interested in, want to know about communications and, hormones. That's definitely something.
So let us know because I'd be happy to dive in because that's what I do when I teach doctors, right? But then I have to try to back up out of that deep hole and...
I can help.
And yeah, right, exactly.
I was bringing back to a little more common question, like, okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think
now the kids are going to be
quiet.
Now
the kids are quiet.
You know, it's kind of like when you haven't seen your kids in an hour and you answer the phone and then all of a sudden they're there. I think that's what happened for our live.
Yeah.
It was all quiet before, and then we get on here and they're noisy, and now we're getting ready to go and they're quiet again.
Yeah. Yolanda, thank you for the comment. She says, how about how-to and tips and tricks? Yep.
Yes.
I think that's great.
Yep.
I think that's the right thing to do on this forum. So we'll be back on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about sort of the how-tos, and maybe we should go through the elimination or renew diet in a little more detail. Maybe we'll make the focus, because that's really the first big step. There's a saying in functional medicine, which I coined: unless there's a compelling reason to do otherwise, start in the gut.
So yeah, you can definitely come up with some tips and tricks on how can you incorporate this diet into your daily life.
Yep. All right, so we'll see you Wednesday. Thank you all so much for showing up.
Yeah.
It's nice to see all the names and the tiny little pictures, even though I can hardly see them from this distance, but it's still fun to see everybody. And maybe someday the world will be normal and we can figure out a way to get together in physical presence, or at least, we keep thinking we want to, we're probably going to put a Zoom class together pretty soon, actually.
Yeah, 3-hour class.
3-hour class, probably in the next week or two. And then, but we'd love to put on a show up live and in person kind of retreat at some point too. Diet and food prep to be successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're an expert on that. We'll do it on Zoom, and we'll have you be the presenter. How's that sound? I think you were involved in doing most of the work testing the recipes in my book, weren't you? Or was that somebody else? I think that was you. You and some collaborators. I'm talking to Yolanda. Anyway.
You're welcome, Fran.
And yes, Fran, you're very welcome. And of course, Fran, we'll invite you to give the pin soup recipe as well.
Oh, yes.
All right. We'll see you guys. Oops, we better see what. Yep. Yolanda says yep. Okay. See, I told you. All right. So if you want to see the beautiful recipes that Yolanda is responsible for, you can go to our website, justbewell.info, and they're in my book. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.